Traffic counters in the retail equation, and I'm going to show you in a second, really can uncover the whole story. And so what is the retail equation? Very simple. We all know it. We maybe have never worked it backwards this way. But for all of our sales, our total sales for the day, week, hour, whatever, it is simply the traffic that came in our store times how many of those browsers we turned into buyers, our conversion rate, our hit rate, our close rate, there's a lot of different words for it, times the average transaction. That equals our sales. So mathematically, and by the way, God was very kind to retailers. He just gave us simple math. He didn't give us high-level calculations. So we can do most of this stuff, kind of on a piece of paper. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So very, very simple formula. So how do you measure these sales drivers? Well, traffic, I got news for you. You need to count traffic. And you need an electronic methodology of doing it. And whether it's beams or heat sensors or heat cameras, a whole bunch of different technologies. But you need to do that. I've had retailers say to me, well, we use those counters, those like Costco uses. And I tell you, it doesn't take your staff real long to catch on that if you're using push counters, if they want conversion rate to go up, they just don't push it. Or they push every third or fourth customer. And sure enough, conversion rate goes up dramatically. They said we only had 30 customers in today and you had 90. So manual doesn't work. And the other thing that people always say about traffic counters, well, they're not perfect. They're not 99 9/10% accurate. I got news for you. I don't care about accuracy because error is constant. Error in any system is constant. And so even if my traffic counters, and by the way, most of them today are 95, 98% accurate, even if they're 98% accurate, the other 2% I don't care because that's constant. And what I'm looking for is increases in my close rate. I'm looking for increases in my average transaction, not specific hard numbers. Conversion rate, the second leg that we're looking at, is calculated by using POS data, so how many transactions we are doing, and also our traffic data. So the two together, and we'll show you the formula in a minute. And then the third piece that we need to know is average transaction or average sale. And that's how much the average customer spends. And that comes right again out of our POS. That comes out of our cash register. And so the conversion rate and average transaction formula is pretty simple. So for conversion rate, it's transactions divided by traffic for the day equals conversion rate. And so again, if I had 200 transactions, 1,000 people, I converted 20% of those people into customers or into buyers. And the formula for average transaction, again, sales divided by transaction equals average transaction. And so most of the time we don't even need to calculate those today because our software does it for us automatically. So how do I increase the sales drivers? And let me just take you through what I call leverage. And this is it's not magic. It's just what happens when you begin to measure stuff. Because if you don't measure stuff, often things do not change. So what happens when I get 50 more customers, which is a 5% increase in traffic? Well, sure enough, that translates into a 5% sales increase. Surprise, surprise. If I'm able to maintain my same conversion rate and I get 5% more people in the store, I'm going to get a 5% sales increase. Now what if I can maintain, or I have that 5% increase in my traffic, and I put a 5% increase on my conversion rate? I go from 20 to 21%, 10 additional buyers. How do I get 10 additional buyers? My staff knows that we're counting. My staff knows that every customer who comes in counts, and they all of a sudden start paying attention to more customers. And it's powerful when staff know that we're actually measuring this stuff. And most staff, by the way, really like to have it measured. And then the third piece of the leverage, and far and away I believe the most powerful, if I take that same 5% increase there, 5% increase on the conversion rate, now if I sell each one of those customers an additional $2 add-on item, every one of those customers, $2 more. I increase my average transaction by 5%. Now I've got almost a 16% sales increase on the same traffic. It's not magic, it's not mathematical wizardry, it's just simply leveraging the opportunities within the store. And so, how do I increase customer traffic? Well, by and large, that's generally done by head office. And so some of you are head office people. That's head office running more advertisements. It's getting better locations. It's doing a lot of demand kind of stuff. That's what increases the traffic. Now, how do you increase conversion rate? Well, two different ways to do that. One is to optimize your service level. Optimize your service level. And that what that very simply means is putting more sales associates in what we call periods of potential. There are, we're open, 100, it only seems like 100 gazillion hours a week, but about, we're open, about 68 to 78 hours a week. Not all those hours are equal. If you ever worked in a mall, Monday morning at 10 a.m., all the people that are in the mall are the mall walkers. There are not a lot of buyers. We may get one or two customers in our store, or if we're in a street location, may get one or two. But what happens around lunchtime in most retail stores? What happens on Friday afternoon, Friday night, on Saturday from 1 o'clock till about 5 o'clock, on Sunday from 11 till about 6? Most of the buying traffic come in during those times. Those are the times we fewer of the tire kickers and more of the serious buyers during those particular times. So when you know when those periods of potential are, then you can adjust your customer per staff hour ratio. Customer per staff hour ratio is a powerful number. When I ask retailers, do you give good customer service? Every retailer says, yeah, I give great customer service. And I say, prove it. What is your customer per staff hour ratio? Hello? How many customers do you have for each associate in the store? And we'll look at that formula in a second. And the second way that I increase my conversion rate, first of all, by having enough people there, quantity of people. The second is the quality of people. I motivate my associates to sell more product. I teach them how to add on. I teach them how to trade up. And so I increase that quality component. And so how do I optimize that? I don't want to have the same customer to staff hour ratio all the hours I'm open. That is crazy. Because when I've only got 2 customers coming in an hour period, I don't need 3 staff on. And yet when I have 30 customers in, I probably need 10 staff on during that particular time. One of the things that amazed me when I started looking at traffic is how predictable it is. And Eric in a few minutes will show you 10 years of data where he has tracked traffic for 10 years. And it is so consistent, it's scary. It may be down one year by 5% because people aren't shopping that much, but you look at it Monday versus Tuesday versus Wednesday versus Thursday, and by hour, there's an incredible amount of consistency. Therefore, predictability. You can predict when the traffic is coming in. And so those periods of potential, which end up only being, for most retailers, 16 to 20 hours a week. If you knew the perfect 16 or 20 hours, that is where you're going to schedule your A team. That is where you're going to put in your best people. And that, again, is a problem we face in retail today, because often we have social scheduling in our stores. Because once the store manager's kind of gotten to know staff, the really good staff say, hey, can I get Saturday off? Can I get Sunday off? I don't want to work Friday night. I got a date. Big, huge mistake, because your best staff often ends up working in the periods that are not the greatest potential.